Well, for the longest time, we've been hearing all kinds of conflicting reports about James Gunn's Teen Titans project. Although it's never been officially announced by DC Studios, the trades have made it really clear this is indeed happening. We know who's going to write it, and now it appears we might even know which characters are going to be part of the team. But there's some conflicting reports. Let's take a couple minutes to break down all the news, where these reports are coming from, what James Gunn has had to say, who's writing the script, and what I actually think is going on. Well, if you remember a couple of months ago, we started to get a lot of online rumors about a Teen Titans project for the new DCU. Now, this never got confirmed by James Gunn or Peter Safran, but a whole series of Hollywood trades did at least chime in and say this was indeed happening. Along with that, those same trades reported that the movie was currently being written by Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow writer Anna Nagura. And if you've heard James Gunn's initial reaction to her Woman of Tomorrow script, well, this really adds up. Now, since then, we've got, well, next to nothing in the form of news. But in the last week, we've gotten a couple of new details from one of the leading Hollywood insiders and Production Weekly. So first, let's kick off with what Production Weekly had to say. Now, before we dive into what Production Weekly said, though, I want to be clear. This is a logline from that publication. Production Weekly is out there to help a lot of the supporting industries for Hollywood, and it is known to be wrong. So we're taking this with a grain of salt, even though Production Weekly is something we look to quite often. Now, the logline in Production Weekly reads, quote, "The Teen Titans are further apart than ever before, until Damian recruits Starfire, Raven, Beast Boy, and the new Kid Flash to join him in a fight against his grandfather, Ra's al Ghul." Now, we've known for a while that Damian is going to be the Robin in the DCU, and James Gunn has also made it clear there's a long history with Batman. So a broken up team, especially one of that early lineup that sees Damian kind of swoop in, reform the team, and face off with his grandfather, well, that's a plot I can kind of get behind. Now, we had heard the movie will focus on a, quote, pre-existing team being revived, and that actually suggests the original team would be part of this film. Now, the original lineup from the 1960s comic book was Wally West, Kid Flash, Dick Grayson version of Robin, the Garth version of Aqualad, and the Donna Troy version of Wonder Girl. Although for me, the original group also includes Roy Harper, aka Speedy, but to be fair, he did come a little later on. Now, this is where Scooper Daniel Rickman chimes in, and as we always like to say, it's not from James Gunn or DC Studios, so we want to take it with a grain of salt. But Rickman's report seems to be somewhere, well, in the middle. Now, what he is saying is the team is actually going to be the same version of the team as the Teen Titans animated series. Now, we're unsure if this means the 2003 show or Teen Titans Go. Let's hope it has nothing to do with Teen Titans Go. I am not a fan. But this would mean the lineup of the group would be Robin, who is Dick Grayson, Raven, Starfire, Cyborg, and Beast Boy, which definitely aligns a bit closer to what the Production Weekly logline says. But with a huge difference because Production Weekly is saying Damian Wayne and Rickman is saying Dick Grayson. Now, as for villains, Ra's al Ghul would definitely be a popular choice, but not too long ago, James Gunn actually chimed in that there were plans to introduce one of the greatest villains in DC Comics history who's tied directly with the Titans, and that would be Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke. Now, along with that, there was a rumor that a Slade Wilson and Bane movie was in production, but that was quickly followed up with by many scoopers that those two characters were going to be introduced in a separate movie and not as their own standalone project. Now, all of this is super confusing, and it seems like there's a lot of balls up in the air, and this does suggest something very distinctive to me. What I think is going on is we're getting reports of conflicting versions of this project that are being ironed out behind the scenes. Now, I think the key thing here, though, is Damian Wayne. We know James Gunn is setting up Brave and the Bold to have Damian Wayne be the new Robin. He's even gone as far as saying he's his favorite Robin and he loves the Grant Morrison comic run. So honestly, unless this is some sort of flashback project where it's set somewhere in the distinctive past of the current DCU, which I don't think is great for the storylines he's trying to set up, I do honestly believe this will probably be a Damian Wayne-led version of the team. Now, if you remember correctly, a couple years ago, we got an animated Teen Titans movie that actually saw Dick Grayson bring Damian Wayne to the Teen Titans group and see him join the team. That group included Raven, Starfire, Cyborg, and Beast Boy, so we might be getting a very similar live-action version of that project, but I'm going to caveat that with the distinct possibility that some of these rumors and reports are actually based on that project because Ra's al Ghul is a villain and Production Weekly is simply wrong. Now, we're going to follow the Teen Titans super closely. I know a lot of you guys really want to know about this project, mostly because it opens up the world of Batman a little clearer. Hopefully, we get an official update from James Gunn very soon. He's made it clear there's a couple of films that have been greenlit he hasn't announced. We just found out Clayface was officially happening, so Teen Titans is most likely one of those other projects, and I'm looking forward to James Gunn finally giving us some confirmation.